Oh my god. I can't believe that I did this to myself. Hey team, good morning. As you saw, I woke up, had some lemon water to get my digestion going and to cleanse my body. Great for your liver. I went for a walk and it was pretty chilly outside, but the sun was peeking through, which was fantastic. But now I did it just in the nick of time. It really looks like it's gonna start raining pretty hard soon. So I did that very well. I cracked that perfectly. And now I'm just enjoying some coffee. I whipped out my manifestation journal because I've just been feeling really inspired to continue manifesting. Talked about before how, if you're new here, hi, oh my God, I always forget to do this. Hi, if you're new here, my name's Paisley. Thank you so much for watching. For those of you who've already dabbled in my channel before, welcome back. Lovely to see you. I've been dabbling in the whole manifestation world. I've talked about it before, where I literally manifested getting to New Zealand, which has been really cool. I mean, nonetheless, I put in the work to get here. The odds were kind of against me, and I think I used my energy to get here. And that might sound weird, but I believe it. I've been doing a lot of research on different manifestation techniques, and I've been really enjoying this one. I only just started today. I've been reading a lot about it, listening a lot about it, and it's the 369 method. So there's a scientist named Tesla way back in the day where he really believed in the law of attraction and quantum physics and all that stuff. And he really honed in to, you know, numerology and that there's really powerful numbers in our universe. So this Nikola Tesla dude, he was obsessed with the numbers 3, 6, and 9. They're really important universal numbers. 3 meaning energy, 6 meaning frequency, and 9 meaning a vibration. And he truly believed that we're these antennas basically, and the vibrations that we're putting out is what we're attracting back in. It's kind of like that cheesy saying, your vibe attracts your tribe. So this method that he came up with was a manifestation method where you write out your manifestation as if you already own it. You write it 3 times in the morning, 6 times in the afternoon, and 9 times in the evening. And to make this the cherry on top, chef's kiss, the perfect mix, you read it out loud to yourself each time you write it down. So pretty awesome. I just started doing it, so I just wrote my 3, and I believe they have to be the same thing you're trying to manifest. So you can't do 3 different things you're trying to manifest. It has to be one thing that you're trying to manifest and write that 3 times, right? So it's the same exact thing. So what I'm trying to manifest is getting 10,000 subscribers here on YouTube. I believe that is doable. Actually, I know that's doable. I know I am already attracting in so many of you lovely people. And it's been really cool to see it grow. I've already gained 100 subscribers in the past 20 days or something. It's pretty cool. I'm so excited. Thank you. Really watching this community grow has been really cool, and I want it to continue to grow. So that's what I put down. I said I am so happy and grateful for the 10,000 subscribers on YouTube, for my 10,000 subscribers on YouTube. What did I write? I'm so happy and grateful for 10,000 subscribers on YouTube. I'm gonna put my. And you're supposed to repeat this for 21 days or something. I'm just gonna keep doing it. And yeah, I just think it's really cool because you are putting out that intention to the universe. So whatever you put out is gonna attract back in, and I can feel it, you know, I feel that energy. So it's just something really fun to do if you're not taking it too seriously. I mean, what's the harm in doing it, you know? And I've talked about this before, where it's there's a difference in manifestation between a thought and a feeling, and the thing that makes manifestations most potent is placing the feeling behind the thought. So really believing it's true in your heart. What you're manifesting is yours and that you're enough for it. And yeah, I don't know, I hope that makes sense. I hope I'm not freaking a lot of you out with my woo-woo stuff, but yeah, so I'm just gonna be focusing on that for the rest of the day. I made another TikTok last night. That was fun. If you want to follow me on TikTok, it's spiritual_sister. It's been fun. I've been making reels on Instagram too, so it's Paisley O'Shea. I'm very active on that. The sun's peeking out again, so I might shove myself through the sliding glass door and get some more sun on my skin, but good morning, everyone. I know, I slacked big time. It is officially day 10 of my managed isolation. We're almost out of here. I'm combining day 9 and 10 together because I really didn't do anything spectacular yesterday. You know, that's been like the theme of this entire thing. Like the first couple of videos were exciting because it was new. It's basically just been like me being on my phone the entire time. I've been making more TikToks, so if you want to follow me on there, that's been fun. I kid you not, you guys, I was on my phone the entire day yesterday. My eyes hurt so bad, and for the first time in my life, I was watching back my videos, and the first time in my life, I had like literal bags under my eyes. I don't know, my eyes just hurt. I'm being a white. I'm going to just eat this orange or this clementine. What do you guys call in here? Mandarins? We call them clementines or cuties back in the States. Don't know why. Oh my god, it smells so good! That's my favorite part about peeling these open, is just like the glorious citrus smell. You know, my last video, I kind of had like a personal revelation of my own anxiety and how our brains are so powerful, and that like we're in control of our brains and we can like choose certain emotions and choose to respond rather than react. So I thought, let's have another vulnerable chat. I thought I would talk about something that I have struggled with and continue to struggle with. I mean, I've gotten like a better grasp on it now, but I know that I have gone through a really dark pattern with this not too long ago. Like I only just now in 2020 really began to accept what I've been through. I mean, it's hard to like beat around the bush before I even say it. So I'm gonna be talking about body positivity, body acceptance, disordered eating patterns, and just like a toxic relationship with food. So as a disclaimer, if you do have any sort of past, or maybe you're struggling with it right now and you're easily triggered, I just want to put a disclaimer out. This may not be like awesome for you to listen to, but if you're looking for some sort of validation or any sort of like relatability with that, you can listen in. If not, just skip. I'll put the time where it like cuts off. I think that it's like a really important conversation to have, especially as a young woman. I'm 23 and I know that this topic is very prevalent and very pushed on at such a young age. I never had any issues with my body, like at all, until maybe about like junior year in high school, I want to say. I was always like very athletic. I played water polo and I swam for the swim team. So I always had like an extremely athletic build. Like I had that typical swimmer's body with like the broad shoulders, tiny little hips, like no curves, just like muscle, you know, and I looked like a swimmer, like, you know, the really broad shoulders. I never thought that to be an issue. I never became insecure about it before until one day I was at the beach with one of my friends. She's like this beautiful, blonde, blue-eyed, sweetest, gorgeous goddess with like tan skin, and just like, she literally is like a mermaid, like literally a mermaid. All the boys loved her. She was such like a charismatic queen. I mean, I was charismatic, but I was definitely like, I never looked at myself as like a saucy little minx or anything. Boys didn't really like me. I only started to get asked to dances like my senior year in high school, and it was by my boyfriend, so safe to say I wasn't like everyone's, you know, first choice. That definitely played into it. I always felt like the, you know, designated ugly friend, you know what I mean? Like all the guys always went for my friends, like literally regardless of like my age. Like in middle school I had a really great friend, she's still my good friend, we actually reconnected recently, her name's Lindsay, and she's this like petite beautiful girl. All the guys loved her, and then I was just like in the shadows. And then, you know, with my other friend in high school that I'm talking about too, it's just like constantly being put in the shadows, you know? So that definitely, so I guess I don't know, that definitely played with my like own self-esteem. I mean, I've always had like a fairly high self-esteem, but I would never felt like the girl that everyone wanted. Do you know what I mean? I never really felt insecure about my body and the way that it was shaped or formed or whatever until, yeah, like junior year in high school when I was at the beach with my friend. Okay, now I'm all caught up. I was at the beach and I come out of the water, my hair is all, you know, slicked back or whatever. And this guy, I'm not gonna name him, he's not even gonna watch this, but I went to high school with him, we were hanging out with all of his guy friends. He's like, oh, here comes the silverback gorilla Paisley. And I was like, what? And I'm like, you look like a linebacker or whatever. He kept making comments on my shoulders, and I never felt more insecure in my own body in my entire life. That was the moment where I was like, holy shit, there's something wrong with my body. Like, I'm not, wait, what? My shoulders are too big? What do you mean? And then that, I remember going home that day and like looking in the mirror, turning around, taking, like literally taking pictures of my back to like see. And in my mind I was like, oh my god, I do have like manly shoulders, I'm literally like a man. And I remember being teased in high school too about like not having a butt or whatever, or just like not having like whatever, you know, like how that goes. I got in my brain, I never had distorted eating habits until out of high school. So junior year of high school, so that's like the second to last year in America. I don't know if you're watching, I think it's different in like different parts of the world, but that totally like hardened my self-esteem and my self-value, which I know I shouldn't have because of a stupid boy. And like my shoulders literally were so strong, and that's what got me to be the team captain junior and senior year. That's what got me to like CIF finals for Division I athletes. That's what got me, you know, like the remind myself that like my body is so strong, and the way that it is for functionality, and I wouldn't have been able to do the athletic accomplishments that I did if I didn't have the body that I had. And for that I'm so grateful. Fast forward to out of high school, I started to, you know, get more involved in the fitness world, right? I became a yoga teacher, I became like a PIO instructor, which is a Pilates and yoga fusion. Started to get implemented into that, and then I started to follow a lot more people on social media that were like, you know, fit, or like, you know, the bikini like tropical goddesses with their tiny little waists and petite little body, and that totally played into it too. So that whole realm became like my fixation of what was ideal, or like what my body needed to look like. I remember this is when I started to like get into watching YouTubers and everything. And this is when the whole vegan movement really began to like take off. This is when like Freely the Banana Girl was a thing. I don't even know if she's still making videos, but that is another toxic diet that we can dive into, but I won't go there. And then some other vegan people started to come out of the woodworks, and they were like these, you know, tiny petite little girls that were like goddesses, and like they praised about this vegan diet, and they're like, oh my god, I'm glowing, I've never lost so much weight, and I just feel so tiny, and blah 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 blah. And I'm like, I want that. And I took a reflection in of like my own diet, and I'm like, I hadn't been competitively swimming for like a year and a half, but I was still consuming the same amount of food and the same type of food that I was consuming when I was swimming, like 7,000 yards a day and burning like so many calories. Like I remember after swim practice on Saturday mornings, because we had swim practice on Saturday mornings too, I would literally get 4 waffles, like 4 of those like pre-made waffles or whatever, put them in the toaster, I'd slather them. Like, I'm not saying like a little piece of butter, like I fucking coated them in butter, a bunch of syrup and a whipped cream. And I was like, I feel so good. But like, I was able to do that because I was working out the amount that I was. And I was continuing to eat like that after the fact that I wasn't burning as many calories. I wasn't swimming competitively anymore. So of course my body began to change and I started to gain a little weight. Nothing crazy. Like when I look back on pictures, I really wasn't that. I didn't gain like a significant amount of weight. It was just more than I was used to. And I was a late bloomer, so I really didn't like go through that huge spike of puberty until I was like a junior in high school. So I still had like a very like prepubescent body until I was in college. And that played into my insecurities too. Literally cold turkey, I began to eat vegan, like strict vegan. I was so obsessed over it, like literally reading the labels to everything. All I ate was literally like salads and like toast and oatmeal, and I remember eating that and doing that, and I felt really good. Like I was starting to lose weight. I literally lost 16 pounds in 1 month. And you guys, I was not overweight. Like I was like at, you know, the peak BMI or like the correct BMI, which I think that BMI is a load of BS because it really doesn't take consideration of muscle, because muscle weighs more than fat. But anyways, that's a whole other can of worms to open up. But like standard BMI, I was in like that healthy range. But I lost 16 pounds in a month. That is not healthy. That is not healthy. I have no idea what happened. Maybe it was like I lost a lot of like inflammation or whatever, but I was feeling really good. Like people were telling me, oh my God, what did you do? Like you lost so much weight, like you look really tiny. And I was like, nanism. And so that totally fueled my fire. And so I became even more obsessed with this vegan diet. And I was like, so restrictive, and then it just, that kind of just like was the gateway drug to restrictive eating. And I got more implemented into the fitness world, right? I was teaching more, people were looking to me for like, you know, health and fitness advice. I'd always get complimented on my physique, whatever, and so my confidence in my own body gained. And I didn't, you know, I talked about the cause and effect brain in my last few videos, where it's like veganism caused me to have this body, so I'm just gonna continue doing this. And I don't think, okay, side note, I don't think that there's anything wrong with the vegan diet. I think that it really does reduce inflammation in the body, and I think that it is a beautiful diet to follow, especially like anti-cruelty. Plants are good for you, you know what I mean? Like there's nothing wrong with the vegan diet. I think it's a great diet. But the way that I guess followed it was not healthy for me. It became extremely toxic. So 2 years down the line, I'm still doing this. My body plateaus, right? I'm not losing any weight. I actually start to gain weight. And I begin, this like totally plays with my brain, because I'm like, wait, what the heck? Like, how am I gaining weight when I'm eating the same amount of stuff that I was eating, but like what? And so that made me really start to like compare my body to others. And I was like, so hyper focused on the size of my thighs. Like I got in my brain that my thighs were like way too big. I think it's because I saw like a picture of myself and my thighs looked like fucking massive, and they weren't. I look back at this picture and I'm like, oh my God, my thighs are huge. Like I need to like be obsessed with getting a thigh gap. And this is when like the thigh gap thing was like really popular. I was so obsessed of restricting my calories and my diet so then my thighs would get smaller and my waist would get smaller, so then I could like, you know, accentuate the hips or whatever. I was so obsessed with it. And it never was a fact that like I would weigh myself, and like it wasn't a fact of like the number on the scale. It was strictly like my thighs and the like measurement of my waist. Like I got so obsessed with it, and it got to a point, without getting into like crazy detail, where there was a time where I was so restrictive on what I was eating that I would be proud, literally proud, that all I would eat in the day was a protein shake and a piece of avocado toast. Like, excuse me? I definitely wasn't like full on anorexic or whatever, but I would do this for like, let's say like 2 weeks straight, and I would get the results that I would want. Like, oh my God, my thighs would be tiny, whatever. Granted, I didn't feel good. I had like a lot of injuries that I pushed through. Like my knees started to act all weird. Like I was just like not okay. I was like constantly obsessing over my body. Literally the first thing that I would do in the morning was like look at my body, like all the way, like pull up my shirt, like look. Even like when after I would eat, I'd like pull up my shirt and like look at my belly and everything. And oh my God, like just thinking back on it, I was so obsessed with it, and literally being proud of how little I was eating, it was like baffling to me. And then when I would get the results that I want and start to get tired of like literally starving myself, then I would binge, of course. It got to the point where my friends and I would go out to dinner, and then I would go back to her house, and then she would always have like chips and salsa or whatever, and I would literally like eat the entire bag of chips and salsa, even though I had just had dinner and I was full, but I was depriving myself so much that I was like, I need to eat it all. Or I would just like eat all like the bad things, like the naughty things, which there's like, oh my God, this, I can't believe I did this to myself. And it was all because I had this idea in my brain of what my body needed to look like. And now that I have the understanding that, okay, let me put it into perspective. If every single one of us did the same workout regime, like literally for months and months and months, and ate the same exact meal every single day for months and months and months, we still would all have a different body. Like not one thing works for one person. And I remember getting obsessed over, this is a whole other side tangent, I get obsessed with one fitness Instagram guru or whatever, and I'd like do everything that she was doing, and then I'd be like, why isn't it working for me? And then I'd feel like a failure because it wasn't working for my body, and then I would binge eat again to comfort myself. And man, it was such a cycle. And I think that my wake-up call was when I went to my 300-hour teacher training. I talk about this in my yoga journey, but when I had this in that whole revelation of loving myself, and like I could never love someone else without, like before loving myself. And I found this newfound confidence where it's like, God, all of our bodies are so beautiful, and they take us through such incredible life experiences. Like my body has granted me with so many privileges and so many beautiful experiences. I am so grateful for the temple that takes me through this everyday life on this physical plane that we're experiencing. Like, man, I'm so lucky, and I want to be able to, you know, like nurture my body and my temple the way that it deserves, right? Luckily, it started to shift, like my mindset started to shift when I came back home after living out here for a while and COVID hit, whatever. I was at kind of like at rock bottom mentally after, you know, going through a huge transformation. And when I came home, it was something about this familiarity of being home, and I had this new self-confidence kind of after going through my teacher training. I began to recognize the patterns of my brain that would take me to those deep, dark places, and it always led back to comparison. Comparison was like the biggest culprit of my own self-doubt, my own lack of self-worth, and feeling like I'm not enough. And I think that that is the worst thing that you can do, because everyone is on a different journey. Everyone's journey is gonna look different. We can't compare ourselves to everyone's life path, right? Because we're all put on this planet to, you know, for a reason, and to go along our own journey. And some people are, you know, way ahead, so you think, but they're not. You know, everyone's life is gonna look different, and everyone's fitness journey is gonna look different. And God, I don't know where I was going with that. I came home, and I don't know, things became a lot more clear, and I started teaching with Ventura Fitness Collective, which is an online gym, and we have a personal trainer who does like these personal nutrition talks, a very educational, straightforward chit chat on different topics of nutrition. And she is so like anti-diet, and, you know, eat in moderation and feed your soul and your body at the same time. And like You need to eat to be able to gain muscle. You need to take your body out of survival mode, because your body is going to store all the fat whenever it gets, if you're starving yourself, your body, when you finally eat, is going to store all of the nutrients into fat for later use, because it thinks that you are literally starving and in survivor mode. And I was like, that's why I totally plateaued in my fitness, because I wasn't eating enough. Girl, let me tell you, I became so tired once I found out this revelation. I became so tired of like being so hyper focused on what I was eating. It got to the point where I literally, like, every second of the day I was thinking about what I was gonna eat, what I can and cannot eat, what is good, what is bad, what isn't good for me. So obsessed with clean eating. And once this beautiful nutritionist started talking about, you can have chocolate, you can have pasta, you can have this, you can have that. I don't know, maybe it took someone who like had a degree to tell me that it's okay to eat, that I was like, oh, it is okay to eat. And the fact that I had the thought in my brain that like, oh my God, to not eat was gonna give me the body that I wanted. Oh my God, girl, you need food to build muscle. Oh. I started to relax my whole, you know, restrictive eating. I started to eat fish again. I started to eat cheese here and then. You know, I wasn't afraid of butter so often. I was eating like lots of carbs. I was eating, you know, like rice and potatoes and like really whole foods. Granted, I still focused on a plant-based diet, but I implemented like fresh fish, like wild-caught salmon, mahi-mahi, all that stuff, shrimp, all that jazz, and a little bit of cheese here and there. I realized that like my whole mental status completely shifted. I was so much more accepting of myself once I started to allow myself to eat whatever I wanted. And the binging went away. Because I wasn't restricting myself, I didn't feel the need to binge, right? I was eating just enough, like I wasn't overeating. I was eating what I wanted, and I felt like I still was indulging and I still was satisfied, but I didn't feel like I needed to overindulge at all, because I was still granting myself that. Granted, that did take a while to really hone in on, because when I was like, I can eat whatever I want, I was like eating chips and like cheese and grilled cheese and all this stuff, and I began to feel like shit because I was only giving my body shit food. And I'm like, okay, hold on, like let's reel it back a little bit, Paisley. You love clean eating, you love eating clean, but like let's just make it a little less toxic and a little more inclusive. So I began to have more of a diverse diet. Primarily fruits and veggies were like the base of my meals, but of course I added more carbs and, you know, like animal proteins. And you guys, I have never felt more alive, more healthy, more stable. Granted, anxiety still creeps in, but more stable in my entire life. I have such a deep appreciation for my body and the function of my body. Like, another side note, when I was like at my lowest low, like my most restrictive, I literally lost my period. Like, I did not get my period for 4 months. And that was another wake-up call for me. I'm like, I'm literally in like prime baby making age. I definitely should be getting my period on time and like regularly. And so that whole played into my whole like, something really needs to change, especially when that nutritionist was like, if you lost your period, it's honestly, it most likely has to do like the lack of consumption of calories and food, and you need to fuel yourself with food. God, it's so crazy how, you know, past experiences, social media, whatever, all plays into this whole self-confidence. It's insane that like the comparison game really places or forces or impacts a lot of young women and young men too. I'm sure that a lot of young men struggle with this. It's taboo for them to talk about it. And I think that this whole body positivity, body acceptance movement is so important. And guys, I gotta tell you, when I stopped dieting and stopped focusing on like what I was consuming, or so, I mean, I still like am mindful of what I consume, but I'm a lot less restrictive, and that has done wonders. Like, I love my body, and when I look at myself in the mirror, I don't loathe myself anymore. I like am proud of the temple that I have. And I know that a lot of people are going to be watching this and be like, literally, how could you ever be self-conscious of your body, or like so athletic, so thin, whatever. Everyone has their own past experiences, their own insecurities. You can be like the most like beauty standardly perfect body and still have things that you don't like about yourself. That is literally like the way that our world works, right? Society, corporations, whatever, want to put us in that scarcity mindset. They want us to hate ourselves because they want us to keep continuing to buy the products that they are selling to make us feel good enough, to make us feel worth it, when in reality, that feeling comes from deep within, baby. That stuff is deeply rooted in yourself. And again, we have the choice to accept that and to implement that in our everyday life. Granted, it is not easy. I still have my days of feeling like a blob, like feeling like a potato, like not enjoying my body, but I am able to now recognize those thought patterns and be able to reroute my brain into a more positive light. I think this movement of like showing the more realistic side to bodies, body positivity, body confidence, and talking about this openly is so important. And I am so sorry if you've ever experienced any loathing of yourself or just like any insecurities within your own body. I am so sorry. I know how that feels. I know how toxic, scary, deeply disturbing that is. And I don't know if this helps, or if me talking about this reiterates or reinforces the fact that like we're all in this together. I don't know. And I hear you and I see you and I love you, and your body is amazing and beautiful, and it deserves the utmost respect and the like unconditional love from yourself. And having that connection to your body is powerful. And I encourage you to just take a moment and thank yourself for being on this planet, for your body, for taking you through so many amazing experiences and always being there for you, no matter how nasty you talk about it, no matter how many times you put he or she down, or they down, them down. It's there for you. That was another rant. And I don't know if I'm gonna get like hate for this because I'm thin in talking about this, but I mean, my experiences are real and everyone's experiences are real. Everyone has their insecurities, and we never know how deeply rooted these insecurities can be and how mind altering they can be. So thank you for listening, and thanks again for holding space for me. I think I'm just gonna edit this right away and upload it and maybe film a little bit more today. I don't know. Thank you so much for listening. I'm just gonna eat my breakfast. Anyways, thank you again so much for listening and for watching and supporting me. The family, or you know, community on here is growing. Geez, when I first came out here I only had like 100 of you, and now there's over 200, and I'm just so grateful that you're along this journey with me, and I'm so happy to be able to share this experience with you. And feeling connected to people that I don't even know is mind-boggling and beautiful, and I'm so grateful for this. And yeah, thanks so much for listening. I hope that made sense. I hope that resonated with someone, and I hope I don't anger anyone for talking about this. But anyways, love you guys so much. I will see you next time, and I'll talk to you soon. All right.